You know what's the sad truth? You know you hit your 30s when all your joints start to hurt. I pick something off the floor, my knees are pop, lock, and drop it. Like they just crack every time I go pick something up. You know you hit your 30s when going out is more of a chore than something fun. Yeah. You know, we're like, is it really worth taking 3 business days to recover from being past my bedtime, which is now 9:30? Or would I rather be laying in bed binging my favorite Netflix TV show? Most likely, I would rather be in bed. But yeah. Yo, what's good for the Broken Fam? It's your girl, Priscilla Zepeda, and thank you so much for coming back and listening for another episode. Woo-hoo! You know what? Today is a special, very special episode. Your girl is past 30. She's officially in her senora era. I thought it would be cool to talk about 30 things that I either learned or that I accepted as soon as I turned 30. So I think it'd be fun. I have a handy dandy notebook that I wrote 30 things that I learned or that I, accepted when I turned 30. So the first one I wrote was focus or prioritize myself. Now I remember being in my 20s, I was usually putting myself more in the back burner than anything else. I would prioritize my family, like my parents, my brother, anybody in my family, my little family. Like I would just prioritize a lot of other people, or even like my work, my jobs that I had in my early 20s and in my 20s. Like I would focus a lot on that instead of myself. And so I felt like that is why when it came down to after 2020 and, the next 2 years after that, I was in my burnt out era because of a lot of just prioritizing other people or other things before myself. And I didn't know how to say no. I didn't know how to create healthy boundaries for myself. So as soon as I turned 30, that's when I finally quit my corporate job. After 8 years being there, I finally quit my job. And I was like, you know what? Enough is enough. Isn't that crazy? It was ironically as soon as I was turning 30 that I was already 30. Like I just turned 30. I quit my corporate job that I've been wanting to quit, for a couple years before I actually did. So it was interesting enough that, a switch, something, I don't know. I've been telling people that, like, I feel like as soon as you turn 30, like a switch turns in your brain. I don't know. If anybody else relates to any of the things that I have wrote, or if anything like resonates with you, please comment down below or let me know, like, girl, preach, sister. I felt that to the core. At least I would know that you are actually listening to me and not just me talking to myself. So number 2, I wrote quality time is important. I realized that quality time is important to me and that I wanted to be focused in my family or in myself, and just really, like, if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna be all in. Like my attention is gonna be all in, locked in, and I really care quality time. I learned that over the years that quality time, you create memories, you create these beautiful memories with your loved ones, with the people that you love, and it's just something that I honestly love and I respect and I appreciate a lot is quality time. Number 3 is others' opinions are their reflection of how they feel and is nothing to do with me. So I had to learn that others people's opinions is just a reflection of how they feel, and it doesn't have to do anything with myself per se. You know, people are going to judge regardless if you are doing great or if you are a complete failure. Like, people are going to judge regardless whatever you do. And that is something that I have learned over the years, and especially when I turned 30, I was like, you know what, other people's opinions can literally kiss my Number 4, I put, there is more to life than being perfect at everything. So this was hard for me to slowly let go. Like I said, I'm not perfect at not accepting that I can't do everything right or perfect. I have a hard time being a perfectionist, especially when it comes to my authenticity of my work. I truly care of my work ethic. I truly care of how much I perform and how well I do, because to me, I am a type of person that I don't need to say that I'm a good worker. I believe that you would know through my work ethic, through the way that I dedicate myself to whatever responsibilities I have. That is something that I'm very proud of. And I feel like pride and eagerness can get in the way of that, of me accepting that I'm going to make mistakes, that I'm not a robot. I'm not 100% going to be accurate on doing things. And so that is something that is very hard for me. And starting to get back into the workforce again, that's something that I have to preach to myself, that I am not perfect and that it is okay. And my authenticity of being a hard worker should be plenty enough. Number 5, I put, I don't need to be liked by everyone. I just don't need fake people. If you don't like me, then be upfront about it. So I grew up thinking that I wanted people to like me. Like, of course, like, I want people to have a good impression of me, except the fact that not everyone's gonna like me. But what bothers me is people who pretend to like me and they are not upfront with me about not liking me or not wanting to be my friend. Like, that is cool. I don't expect people to be my friend. I don't need to have 5 million friends or 5 million people to follow me or whatever the case may be. It's like, that doesn't bother me. I was like, if you're gonna follow me, if you're gonna be my friend, then be authentic about it. And if I bother you, well then, dude, go follow somebody else, or you don't need to meet my friend. I'm not forcing you to be my friend. Like, that's what I just don't understand. I really don't understand why people like to be with people that they don't like, or they follow people that they don't like. What do you get out of that? Like, if you're just driven to follow somebody because you have envy or anything like that, that is not good for you. I don't need to be liked by everyone. I like to make a good impression, but I don't need to be liked by everyone. If you're going to be my friend, cool. If you don't want to, then that's fine. That doesn't bother me. Just don't be fake about it. That's all I ask. How hard is that? For real. Number 6, I put, striving to be authentically to myself and don't need approval from everyone. So this kind of goes into, people pleasing and all that stuff. Is like, I am striving to just be my authentic self, my bubbly self. I guess, people can think I'm obnoxious because I'm loud. I am a loud person. When it comes to expressing my feelings or expressing, how I talk to people, I am really straightforward in a sense. Like, I am straightforward in what I say. I say things out of good intentions. I say things like because I truly do care, and sometimes other people may take it as the wrong way, or they may take it out of context, but I am real. Like, I don't, especially with the people that I love, I don't hold back in what I want to say or how to say it, because I want to be real. I want you to understand that when you're talking to me, You're going to talk to somebody who is genuine in what they say and how they say it, and that is going to be real with you 110%. Even if I don't agree with what you're saying, if we have a disagreement, like, I'm still going to be real with you. And that is something that I had to learn, that not a lot of people not a lot of people can understand that. Not a lot of people really like to confront me with that. And so at first, like, I would think that maybe I'm too straightforward or I'm too honest. But honesty is the best thing. Like, who would you rather have, a person that is fake for, like, being fake with you or doesn't want to tell you the truth? Or would you rather have an honest person around you that truly loves you, regardless if it's something that they disagree or agree or whatever? Like, wouldn't you want to have somebody honest? Be honest when I say things. I'm pretty straightforward in that aspect. Even if I know you for so many years, or if I just got to know you, like, I am 100% genuine in what I say. Things that come out of my mouth is genuine. Like, when I tell you you're pretty, I am genuinely telling you that you are pretty. Or if I'm saying, like, I love that outfit, I'm being honest. It's not because I want a compliment back or I want to be your best friend or whatever. It's just something that's in my mind and I'm being honest. And that's where I just learned that I'd rather be myself, and if people like it, and if they don't, well, then they don't, and that's okay. And that goes with number 7, which I put understanding my worth. I learned a lot throughout the years of, my early teenage years and my 20s. I learned a lot of finding my worth and understanding my worth. I feel like it's important for everyone to understand their worth, to understand, if they love deeply, they deserve people. They deserve to be surrounded by people who also love deeply, so that they can receive that amount of love back too. Or people that, will go out of their way to do something for somebody. Like, you deserve to be around other people that are the same way, or even better. Like, you should be surrounded by people who genuinely do love you, that care for you. And also, like, work. Like, you shouldn't be stuck at a job just because you feel like you're unworthy. Or even coming down to religion, like, understanding your worth. Like, we're not all perfect. And regardless of, even if you feel like the most dirtiest person, or you feel like you have the worst stories of your life, like, you are still worthy to receive God's love. You are still worthy to have people to love you and that want the best for you. And that goes with number 8, remove people from your life and be okay with that. That includes friends or family. Yes, even family. Like, removing people doesn't have to be something petty or anything like that. It's just understanding boundaries, understanding space, or even understanding that you don't have to share everything. I had to learn the hard way of me oversharing a lot of my accomplishments or my goals, even down to family. Like, I had to learn that, sometimes there are certain things that I should keep to myself, or, keep within my little family. But there's other things that, I can share. I'll put on social media, yada, yada, yada. But there are certain goals that I just would rather have between my little family and God, because it's just something that I cherish and that I care about, and that, others' opinions shouldn't reflect my goals or my aspirations of what I want to do in my life. One thing that I don't agree, to be honest, is that to push family or kind of can't cancel your family. Family is always going to be family, and that there are certain circumstances, obviously, like, bad ones, and that for your safety and all that stuff, it is the right thing to do, to remove yourself from family that will cause danger to you. But if it's just something that is a family feud, or just a generational feud, like, I feel like I don't know, you have the opportunity to, instead of putting a band-aid on it, sew it with love, and try to create a new generation of love with that. Regardless if they don't share that back with you, but at least within yourself, that you can make a difference. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that is something that, I've truly believe in, and that's just my opinion. Number 9, I put focus on my health for the long term, not for aesthetics. So, not gonna lie, when I first started my weight loss journey and all this stuff, it was more for the aesthetics. I wanted to have a good body. I wanted to be cut. I wanted to be built. I wanted to grow a big booty. I wanted to look the part. I wanted to look like those gym girlies that I would see on Instagram and now on TikTok, on TikTok and whatever. Like, I wanted to be that aesthetic. I wanted to be able to walk down, the street and people be like, oh, she does hit the gym. But now, like, as things shifted and I just started to turn my mind into that, working out is a good thing. It's just understanding what are the reasons. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you taking care of yourself? If it's for the aesthetics, like, the way that you look is gonna come and go. Like, after you get older and stuff, like, yes, there are certain people that look even great when they're in their 50s and 60s, but still, like, your face is gonna, your skin is gonna get wrinkly, and, things are gonna, your body's gonna change. And so it's just, and through life and experience, like, things, you're gonna fluctuate in your weight, and, it's part of life. So that's what I'm saying, like, yes, it's good to go to the gym because you want to build a body and you want to build your dream figure and all that stuff. But at least for me personally, I have just changed my mindset that, working out is more of taking care of myself. Like, I want to live a good, long, healthy life for my kids. I want to see my kids have their kids, and I want to be able to be active when they get older, when they're teenagers and stuff like that. Like, I want to still be active. I still want to be able to even go to the gym with my girls one day and to do things with them and not be out of breath or have health problems, because a lot of, my aunts and my uncles, they have health problems. They are, diabetic, and that is just something that is more important for me, is like, I don't want to be consumed with pills. I don't want to be having to take 5 pills each day because I have to worry about my blood pressure and my sugar and all this stuff. Like, I am trying to live a healthy life and take care of myself and be conscious of what I put in myself, because, like, I live with, family members that are, that they're diabetic, and I just don't want that personally. So I have really just shifted my mind of, I'm wanting to create a healthy life so I can be active with my kids and be active when I get older and not suffer with these problems when we get older. I know things happen and life happens, but if I have control of taking care of myself now, I want to continue this habit so I can continue to take care of myself when I get older. So number 10 is pushing myself out of my comfort zone. So I am weird. I feel like I am a social butterfly when it's one-on-one, like a one-on-one conversation, but I have social anxiety when it's like a lot of people, or if I'm in a new environment, I tend to freak out. Now, if I have, my people, my safe people, I have a few safe people in my little circle that I would consider of, like, if I would go somewhere new, I would just be bopping around, having my time of my life, and just being a social butterfly because I have my safe person. My goal this year is to step out of my comfort zone and have conversations. Slow-paced life is better long-term than fast-paced. I felt like I thrived with high pace. Like, fast-paced life. It's like I felt like if I had 5 minutes of chill time, I wouldn't know how to do. I would just be like moving my leg, doing like a little shake, being like, okay, like what's next? Like what should I do? Like I shouldn't, this is wrong. This feels wrong for me to chill for 5 minutes or catch my breath. No, I have learned that, living a slow-paced life will reduce the feeling of burnout and also get to, like how I said, quality time. You get to truly cherish and absorb, time with your friends, your family, whatever. Like you get to truly absorb, or even like solo time. Like you get to just breathe and just like embrace the moment. I understand that when you're young, you just want to be in the hustling. You're in your hustling era. You want to go, 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 go. And I get it. I feel like long term, that is the goal. It's just to enjoy a very slow-paced life. Number 12, I put social media is only important what matters to me. And I don't need all of the social media accounts. I don't need all of them in order to be successful or in order to be in the now. I used to be like obsessed with the new social media trend, like any new social media app or anything like that. Like I would always download. I always wanted to know like what was new, what was hip, whatever, and have all of these social medias. Slowly, I just been, eliminating different social media apps that I no longer use and only kept the ones that I use on the daily and what I feel like is worth it for me. And so I just understand that, you don't need to have all the different social media apps in order to be successful in life or in order for you to feel like you're relevant. You really don't. Honestly, if I could ghost and just delete all social media apps, like I think that would be pretty cool to just detox from everything and detach yourself from the world. I think that would be pretty cool. And maybe that's just something that I'll probably do, in the future, and just keep my social media more as my platforms and just more of, for the Broken podcast and all that stuff, obviously. But, it's just, I don't know. There is that pro and cons of having social media. And there's so much beauty into social media. It's always cool to see, like, other friends, talented friends that, and also, like, just, you feel connected. But it's also, I feel like it also helps you, like, when you limit your social media apps or you limit your time, you try to make actually connections like with people and talking with people and doing that way. I feel like it's just more authentic that way. 13, I put success is not based by wealth or status. I remember in my 20s and when I was working with my old coworker, I would always have conversations with her saying like, I'm a failure. Like, I should be doing this and I should be having this status already and I should be making this money, or I would compare myself, with other people with degrees and all that stuff, and I would, compare myself with that and tell myself like, oh, you're a failure. But success is not based off of wealth or status. I feel like success is based off your accomplishments and how you've thrived authentically and what you accomplish in your life. It could be little goals or big goals, and it could be something so drastic, so dramatic, but it can also be something so subtle, something so small. Don't ever feel like you're where you're at, even if you're on level 0 and you're starting over. Like, don't think of yourself as a failure. Think of yourself as like that was the first step, and that's a success. You are the first step to be like, hey, I want to get better. I don't want to be here forever. That's a big thing. Even if it's something so small, even if it's something that no one can really see, but that is something that you shouldn't diminish. Be proud of that. Number 14 is self-love. So I have been an advocate of self-love loving your body, embracing your beauty, and be proud of it. Self-love is just something that I'm truly proud of, and that, over my time of me in 30 and to now, I feel like I have drastically gained so much confidence in myself because I love myself and I know my self-worth. So if you see like certain trends, I feel like, all these different things that I've learned kind of goes hand in hand. It's kind of like little puzzle pieces, and I'm just creating this beautiful picture, and all these pieces have a significant place in my life, and they connect in a way that creates this beautiful big picture. And so that's where I feel like a lot of the things that I've learned and realized and understand comes hand to hand together. Number 15, the most important thing that I could ever, learn and understand and admit is always put God first. Always put God first. Regardless if you're in your highest of highs or your lowest of your lows, always put God first. Through my toughest times, I can always think that God was always there. And for me, especially, I just really, as I quit my job, I really put that into play. I really was you know what, God, I am quitting my job, a job that has been so secure, a job that I'm getting paid pretty well, to be honest, and a job that I was helping my family financially. I am trusting you, Lord, that things are going to work out and that things are going to be in your favor. And so luckily till this day, I can say that God has blessed me through and through each time, each month, that sometimes is more better than others, but God has always been there. And I can always, and I will always forever declare to always put God first. Number 16, I put admitting that I am human and I will not always be a good person, and to give myself a little bit of grace. Which I say, I'm human, I'm going to mess up, I'm going to say probably some nasty things. It is embarrassing to admit, but when I'm angry or frustrated or anything like that, I sometimes say that things that are not very pretty, and most of the time I don't really mean it. I just say things out of just despite and out of bitterness and anger. And that is something that, I'm not proud to admit, but I am vulnerable enough to admit that and to understand that, you know what, I'm human and I need to be better. I need to be a better person, a better good person, and I'm going to have those mistakes. And it's okay that I shouldn't punish myself because I said something wrong, but what I can do is just be better. And then next time, understand when I'm frustrated or understand when something doesn't go right, that I shouldn't lash on somebody or say things that I don't mean, because it doesn't turn out to be good and it's not fair for the other person or for whatever it may be. That's not fair. So that's something that I've learned, admitting and understanding that, sometimes I am not a good person. Number 17, being honest is better than holding back things. So going back to, being an honest person and a straightforward person, I'd rather be honest. I'd rather be honest about things, and I'd rather be truthful and straightforward with somebody than holding back things, regardless if they want to hear it or not. At least, I'm just being honest and I'm being myself. And especially when I say something so great and so powerful, I want them to understand that I love them so, so much. Especially with the people that I love, but even to strangers, when I'm genuine and I'm honest. And that's something that at first I was very ashamed or embarrassed about, but now I'm very proud of it. Number 18, I put finding hobbies or other things to be creative. I feel like low-key I am a very creative person. I love, my way of expressing myself is through being creative, and that's why I created this podcast. I know every time I talk to you and I'm filming and all this stuff, it's just very therapeutic to me. I love being creative. Also, photography. That is something on my bucket list, is to become better at photography, but I don't want it to be like a family portrait type of photography. I want something like if you see like in a magazine, like in a fashion magazine, or just something more abstract, something more creative, something more, it could be trending too, but just something like that picture is telling a story. Also pottery, and also learning how to make my own candles. That is on my bucket list to do. And what has inspired me a lot has been my cousin, who she has started to garden and she has her own little farm. She has always inspired me to try new things. She has always tried new things. She has always, started hobbies and all that stuff. Some lasted and some others didn't. And so I just love her trying new things, and her just, that is her way of being creative and just finding a different outlet is her through her gardening and through her animals. I love that for her, and I always pray that her little farm flourishes. Number 19, learning to let go and breathe. I am a type of person that is very hard for me to let go. It could be like not materialistic things. I'm not a hoarder. I would let that go. I'm the type of person I was like, trash out. But it's just certain things, like what matters to me the most or anything like that. It's hard for me to let go. Like my job, my work ethic is very important to me, and for me to let that go and for me to try to move on, at first it was hard for me to take that big leap of faith and be like, okay, it's time for me to move on to a next chapter, even though it may be an unknown, but it's time for me to move on. And honestly, I'm truly happy I did, because it allowed me to be like, hey, if something doesn't work out, that's okay, and life is gonna move on, and you're gonna move on too, and it's not gonna be the end of the world. So that's just something that I have learned. Number 20, 30 is not old. It is just a new era of adventures. So I remember being in my teenage years and be like, oh man, as soon as you're 30, like life is over. Like you're just old. Like ew. But now that I'm 30, I'm like, no. Mentally, I'm still in my 20s. I'm just, more mature. More life experience has, molded my perception of life. And so I feel like, I'm excited. I call it my senora era. 21, I wrote, it is never too late or you're too old to do something new. So I respect my other cousin who became a barber. He was working in a factory, in an RV factory, and for him to chase his dreams to finally become a barber, it just made me realize, like, you're never too old to start something new, or even like my mentor, like him, he's becoming a barber, or actually like playing gigs and all that stuff. Like, you're never too old to still be passionate or to try something new. And one day I hope to have a non-profit organization, and one day I hope to write a book, and one day I hope that I can speak in different platforms. I'm speaking this to the existence because that is something that I hope one day it does happen. And I'm not too old to venture into that. And just because I missed my prime, which is my 20s, like, no, I'm still in my prime. Like, I'm still good and I can do this. If you're in your 30s, like, don't stop dreaming. Keep on going. If you have goals and dreams that you feel like, oh man, like I didn't do it in my 20s, do it. Who cares what other people say? Or if it's just like simply like getting a tattoo that you always wanted, or getting a piercing, like, do it. Who cares? Or fashion. I feel like a lot of people criticize, like, oh, as soon as you're 30 or a mom or whatever, you have to look a certain way. No, forget that. It's like, dress whatever you want to dress and be confident in whatever and however you dress. That's what I'm saying. You're never too old. You're never too old, and just be your authentic self. 22, I put, don't be afraid to move on from something you felt obligated. So this goes hand to hand to just learning to let go and breathe, and just understanding that it's going to be okay. In the end, it's going to be okay. Number 23, creating healthy boundaries, and I don't always need to say yes. So that is just like going hand to hand of just, you don't have to people please. You even, removing people from your circle and all that stuff. It just, goes hand to hand to what I talked about previously. Number 24, confidence is key. Appreciate myself more. So that goes hand in hand with self-love. So you see a little pattern, like how all these little different things that I realized and that I understand, like they're just different versions or just different things that just go hand to hand together. Number 25 is self-care mentally or physically is important. So all like busy moms, or you're living a busy life, you're always hustling, like understand that self-care is so important to your mental health and your physical health, and that just creates less of that burnout feeling. Find something that is truly therapeutic to you, that makes you feel good, that helps you unwind, and just give yourself a little bit of self-care. And I know that sometimes it's hard, and I know that there are certain circumstances that you may not be able to have a lot of self-care time or your alone time or anything like that. I understand that, but even if it's just like 5 minutes before you go to bed, like have that just time of self-care and reminding yourself that you are enough, that you are worthy, and that you did an awesome job that day. 26, I put being myself to everyone, no matter if they don't return the same vibe. Just goes hand to hand of like just being confident with myself and understanding that not everyone's gonna like me, and that even if somebody doesn't return that good vibe energy back to me, that is okay. Number 27, admitting when I'm in the wrong and being good at correcting it. So that goes hand in hand into like knowing that I'm not a good person and giving myself grace. And I used to be very stubborn when it comes to admitting when I'm wrong. Like, raise your hand if you like to admit that you're wrong when you know that you're wrong and you don't want to be like you are wrong. Like, come on. If you say you don't and that doesn't bother you, dude, you're a liar. But honestly, that's one thing that comes with my pride and ego-ness, that admitting when I'm wrong, it's very hard for me, especially when I know that I'm in the wrong. But I'm just like, I'm not in the wrong. 28, communicating how I feel. It's hard being the oldest and you feel like you have to save others. I know how to communicate how I feel, but sometimes I don't like to communicate when I'm like feeling overwhelmed or stressed or things that are bothering me, because I've always been the type of person to take care of others, and I always put my needs or anything in the back burner. And especially when I lost my little brother, I felt like I had to put my hurt in the back burner and always just be there for my family and giving them comfort and creating the safe space, because we're all mourning and we all miss him so dearly. And when I would have my alone time, I never truly understand why, like all of a sudden I would just like burst into tears and just feel so heartbroken, and my heart was just so achy, and I just felt like my world just crashed at that very moment. Like, it is very hard for me to communicate that, or to communicate when I'm feeling overwhelmed. And that is something that I'm trying to get better at, because I don't want it to get to a point where I just outlash somebody and they'll be like, whoa, like, where did this come from? Sometimes I just feel like, I try to diminish those types of feelings and just be like, what, it's okay. But I'm trying to be better at communicating, regardless whatever feelings I feel, especially with the people that I love. Be better at that. Number 29, creating self-love days. So like I said, life is crazy. Like, life is lifing right now. I get it. I am there with you. Don't you worry. But just creating self-love days is just another way of just loving yourself. And I feel like when you love yourself genuinely, you can love others genuinely as well. It's like how I was saying, like, whatever you outpour out to others and outpour to the world is a reflection of how you feel and how you feel about things and how you present and how you view yourself and all that stuff. So that's why, like, if you pour out good, you feel like you're a good person. If you pour out beauty towards others because they're beautiful and you see beauty in others, then you feel beautiful within yourself. That's why I'm saying, like, that's why I'm such an advocate when it comes to that. And lastly, number 30. You guys already know this because I say this every week. But honestly, happiness always wins, you guys. And, you know, I just realized this the other time, and you don't understand how much this saying means a lot to me. But my little brother, the one that passed away, he would always say, just be happy. And that was his thing. Every time, like, if after soccer games, or, you know, something may go wrong, or even if it's a good day, like, he would always say, just be happy, just be happy. And that has resonated a lot within my family and all my cousins and my aunts and everything like that. Like, when they remember him, they always remember, just be happy. And so when I realized that, you know, when I say happiness always wins, it's just something that really resonates towards me deeply, because it just reminds me a lot of my little brother and how much I love him and how much, you know, truly I believe that I want to give out to the world is happiness. Just every time you leave, after you listen to this podcast, I want you to always just feel a slight of happiness and just a reassurance that life is going to be okay and we're all lifing together. And so that's all I want to say is happiness always wins. Have a good day, guys. Bye.